There you go.
It's everywhere. I don't know what I did with my cord. You can see my roots today. Tomorrow I'll be fresh. But not today. Tonight you're not. Tonight I am. Traffic. The real deal. The real deal. We ready? I am. What do I have to do here? What are we missing?
Andy's not coming, and Jeff is not coming, and so we're here. We're here.
Yeah.
We are. You need to unmute, and I will record. It is 7. Yep. Hi, Janet.
All right, I'd like to call this meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission for Thursday, November 7th, 2024 to order. Tonight, we have Bob Reinhardt, John Luzzo, Bob O'Connor, myself, Carol Snow, Chair, Mike Bugda, John Morgan, wait, there's too many Johns and Bobs. Aaron Mannix, our town planner, and on Zoom, we have Janet Peckinpah joining us. Welcome, Janet. The first item on our agenda is the continuation of a public hearing, so unless anyone really wants to hear my process notes, I can just jump right in, if that's okay with everyone?
Yes.
Good. Welcome.
For last week, right? Last month, turn around. Good
Perfect.
evening. Again, for the record, James Perito from Halloran Sage, 265 Church Street in New Haven is my office address. I'm here representing the general residents at Fence Creek Homeowner Association. We started this public hearing last month and sort of discussed what it was we were looking to do. And we had some questions. And one of the things that the commission asked is that we provide a site plan and a like a planting plan. So I know we submit to Aaron. I have smaller copies that I can hand out if that's good for you, Aaron.
And I can screen share it for you, Jim.
Great, terrific.
If you want to start with the site plan, the
Right,
landscape.
I'm going to do this site plan first and then the landscape. plan. So this site plan, what you'll see on here,
I do for our file.
you can
Thank
see
you.
on here, it will show you the trapezoid area as the existing and granted easement, pedestrian easement area. And then you'll see where that is located in relation to the open marsh area, the homes, the road, pointed out here. So what you see here is this is the development. These are the existing homes, the setbacks. This is the property line in yellow. And then here's Route 1. This is the easement area. This is the existing grass area that's all through here. And here's a driveway. Okay. So this is the trapezoid that was granted previously. And this is the area where it should have been sort of half the size. And when they filed the description, it's actually this area, which is about 1,000 square feet. So one of the things we had said last time was if at a minimum, we need to correct and get the proper size there. So originally the viewing area was to be like down over here. And I think we had submitted the pictures that showed the the trimming of the Phragmites that's in this area here. There's, this is not a huge slope from here to there, but it goes from a higher elevation down to this area here. So what you see here is the proposed new easement area, 31 square feet. There's sort of a blow up here that shows. And when you're in this area, there's a concrete pad right here where that would be the terminus of the sidewalk when that's put in. So it's really just sort of right across from that area. You can see it's just straight from here. And then this, then this goes to where the other side is. This handout is the planting plan. Just sort of superimposed on the existing easement area. We were a little, this came in just a couple days ago because obviously with the surveyor, we had to, do it in sort of a short amount of time, but he was able to accommodate it, so it got it here in time for your meeting. And you'll see on the planting plan. So here would be this would be the proposed area. This would be the signage right here. And then we would put in the different kind of plants. It's sort of listed. The Forester grass, the smooth hydrangea, the rose, little blue stems. And that would be sort of here. So it'd be kept low enough so that people can look over it easily to look down through there. And this is a grass area on that side. The other thing I wanted to have you see is a photo of what would be looking towards this area from the west, looking like that. You'll see here the telephone poles where the proposed viewscape area would be, and then the sign that says 45 miles an hour. Aaron, do you have this one?
I believe I do.
I can do the color one.
Yeah, we have it.
Yes,
You have
I
that?
do. I'll pull it up. I just pulled up the wrong one.
Just to give you a perspective. So some of the letters that you've seen come in, they're actually advocating they don't want to see this here at all because they're concerned about the possession. Speaking truth, but we think what we've done by locating it where it is to provide a real balance between the requirement for a public access under CAM, one that minimizes the impact on the homeownership because it's not literally right behind them, and really gives a more meaningful viewscape because even though we're committed in both in our pursuant to the prior approvals, we're committed to cutting down the Phragmites. You know, it's not done every week. It's done at different intervals. It's still going to grow because it does. And if we have it down on the bottom there, if it's between the cuttings and it's 6 feet high, they can't see anything. Where this location is, they'll be able to see. I mean, regardless of the height of the Phragmites, they'll be able to see out more than being down there. So we think that this really sort of fixes the issue that had been sort of brought up previously. Happy to answer any questions or concerns.
So what does CTD think they approved?
What do they think they approved?
Is that 1,000 square foot or something less?
So 5.
They don't care.
Frankly, they sort of just, their email was, for lack of a better term, ditto to what we said before, which was, you know, sort of the standard, well, every project is supposed to have water dependency to it. Well, let's be honest, it's a residential development. And unless you had a dock on a river that you could make public, it's really minimal public access. This is a way to sort of strike that balance and have some public access to that. So I think they really didn't say anything different than they said before, which is, you know, you have to have public access, which is maintained.
And we did a block of you.
You should identify yourself for the record.
Cindy Gardner, 916 Boston Post Road. But also, I know one of the stipulations was if we took away a view by a new building. And instead, we're opening the view. I mean, we've made the vantage much wider. That's what we're trying to help you with. So in that case, that's part of what we're trying to give as benefit for the whole town. Sorry, Cynthia.
Could you explain a little bit about the difference between the 979 square feet and where there was you said there was a mistake that was made?
Yeah, when you actually approved the approval in 2020, what was actually approved was sort of the light bulb shape.
Yeah, just by the way, we weren't, none
No,
of
you were here.
Okay.
That was what was approved, which was approximately
Right.
500 square
We've
feet.
seen that.
But the developer, when they actually got down to brass tacks
Yeah.
and worked out the final easement agreement with the town, what was attached was that original proposal, which was the big trapezoid, which is about 1,000 square feet. So that's where it should have been a different description, and that wasn't done. And again, we weren't there either. That was all
Yeah.
your predecessors, our predecessor. So I think that,
Do you have the light bulb one,
So,
Erin? Or do you wanna-
I did want to show you that map. But Cindy,
just a comment in my search, because remember you were asking for us to go for a survey. And so I kept saying, why would we pay for a survey when we don't know if you're going to accept this or not? So I went digging for, where was this light bulb survey? I couldn't find it at all. So I was asking, how did our developers take the survey from Bill Plunkett's plan and put it on ours?
2019.
Right, from 2019, and that's kind of how we got it. We just felt sort of cheated, for this lack of better phrase, of all this land right next to us that we didn't know. And so I went looking for that survey, and I asked Tom Stevens, Tom Wilcox, that had never been surveyed. So I think it was just used, and it was used incorrectly. And so we would have gone with that, but actually this design that we're putting forth, it matches an exact size. I went and measured over at the Green Trail. It's the exact size, shape, the look of it. I want the natural grasses to be something. Our riparian buffer looks gorgeous, and we've protected from our property to the marsh, and we're trying to save that marsh and do everything we can for it and make the views more impactful for everyone as well as ourselves. And the light bulb shape, because it goes into the property more, it means it goes down. You would see nothing. And so what we're saying is this is, we think, the best option for not only us, but for the town, to give the view, a meaningful sign, and a stop off on a hike. And I mean, I really would love to see it connect where you could keep on going, but I know it doesn't right now. But the size and shape is smaller than what the light bulb shape would be, but it makes more sense for what we're offering.
Erin, do you have that
Sorry to have been
earlier site plan that?
So I do. So I did look into this because I was involved with the drafting of the conservation easement with the developer and having that executed on the land records and the legal description of that easement. So I think my understanding is that it was done intentionally. I wanted to show you the maps here. So this is what you're referring to, as the light bulb
Right.
area of a viewing area. And this, as you can see, it comes up to the setback line. This is a little identification sign for the area. This is the actual viewing portion. This particular map here, this is the map that is filed, except I sketched in here, just so you know. But this is the actual map that is referenced in the legal description. So I overlaid the two of them. Now, I'm not a surveyor. However, I laid them on top of each other and just traced where that viewing area is. And I guess just generally speaking for easements, for example, even a drainage easement, if the town has a stormwater pipe, an easement typically extends beyond the physical improvement to allow for access in the area in case maintenance or other things have to occur. So I see that as reasonable area. It includes an area for a sign, and the physical improvement of the viewing area with the bench fits within that easement. So I don't necessarily see that it was an error in doing that. Why it was the particular shape. It's not the exact same easement that was proposed under the Bill Plunkett proposal. That did have this trapezoid shape. However, there was an entire strip that extended down to the corner of the property, and that was where the sidewalks were initially proposed within the property. And so that included the public access along the entire length of the sidewalks, then to access a viewing area here. So that I think
that's helpful to sort of clarify that. But I think, if you look at from my client's perspective, again, they weren't with that, and when they're trying to piece it together, this is helpful. And so, when you look at the light bulb, okay, and you look at what's given, it does look like twice as much because, just thumbnail kind of thing on that. I don't disagree that, if you're going to have like utility easement, if you need 5 feet to put the line in, you might give a total of 10, to give you some room to do it. That's true. But I think that, as the homeowners, if in fact we're just going to have like even if you're just going to have a sign here, that's a lot of area where there's technically public easement, public access that people could in theory go there. And that's sort of a concern of the homeowners. And that's why we've been proposing to not eliminate it, but do it in a way that is a little bit more controlled, a little bit closer to the sidewalk, and, not in their back, really, behind their houses, but still giving the sort of the meaningful access that I think is what the whole purpose of the act is, which is to allow people to look out, in a more meaningful way.
I want to. Go ahead.
Mike Dwyer, 916. Do you have a copy of the actual diagram from Plunkett? Because it doesn't seem to track to me just by eye. Because when I looked at the Plunkett 1,000 square foot, it was significantly closer to the corner of my house, 30 feet away, 10 yards.
You're talking about the first,
The 2019.
the first.
2009, I mean, no disrespect, but you said I'm not a professional drafter. And for this meeting, we went to a professional
Did
drafter.
Plunkett's proposal even have your buildings?
No.
No,
Yeah.
buildings were in different places.
They were in different
They weren't within 30 feet of the
Fewer of
living
them.
room of
That's why we
our
felt,
house. So that's
I
part
can
one.
Show you
Part
that.
two is,
I'm just going to
we've
stop sharing.
made no bones about, we are asking you to remove or shrink the viewing area from what was proposed. And also, the last thing on Plunkett's plan, that was never in any documentation to the buyers. The only documentation that came to us, and we all signed up for a viewing area, which we're asking you to shrink, but it was a light bulb. It wasn't 1,000 square feet that was 10 yards from my house. So that's just kind of our thoughts. By the way, please go by tomorrow, because as of about 5 o'clock tonight, all of the knotweed is gone up to the public land trust.
Oh.
So that was yours truly, because we contracted a landscaper to do it, and our HOA had agreed to pay for it as we plan to go forward. But it wasn't done. And I just said, I just want to walk into this meeting going, we've done everything we've said, and I hope that matters to you.
You didn't bring your weed whacker with you.
It was actually a brush cut.
That's what I'm saying.
It's quite powerful. It's a lot of fun.
The knotweed is really, that's a real problem.
That's
That's
massive.
really a problem.
But I can also tell you now, being something of a brown belt in knotweed and Phragmite removal, it's a lot tougher than you think. So that when we were all signing up as, members to the HOA saying we would, take the invasives out, nobody had any idea. At a minimum, you're gonna see 4 treatments a year. 4, and hopefully the Phragmite the knotweed will just keep coming. We've planted grass seed as far as we can on where we're allowed to in our distance measuring from the marsh to keep the knotweed out. But again, there's a significantly better view of the marsh for the town. We'd like people to come and enjoy it. We just are asking, we think we're going above and beyond what we signed up for. And anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Other questions?
I want,
Wait.
I did pull up that plan for you. This is the original approval that was then again modified in 2019. And so you
But
can
the
see this
buildings are in
dotted,
different places.
Yeah.
Right.
Those aren't where our buildings are.
right.
but this is the approval that Bill Plunkett received.
Right.
So you took that
No,
viewing area and laid our houses next to it. No, I'm not telling you what you did, I'm sorry.
no.
Our houses are closer to that viewing area.
That's true. I
Yeah.
know that.
Right.
But I wanted,
Nancy Olson, 916 Boston Post Road. I wanted to add that the original Bill Plunkett approval included a parking space. So that's why it's so much bigger. And so I don't think it's the same as, fairly certain it's not the same as what ended up in our the easement, attached to the easement.
Right.
Because that is, I had a friend who's a
It just helped us
surveyor.
understand the history though, I think,
Yeah.
to see how we got these area.
And there are meets and bounds
Right,
within
that's right,
the,
that's right.
So
So
Erin, what's the,
you
you know,
can-
the square footage of the 2019 one, just for reference?
He did it on the one.
Is it on
It's
there?
1,000.
I don't know that, I don't think
He
it's
said he wrote it
calculated
on-
on here.
Yeah, okay.
Tom Wilcox did.
20.
It's on, see on the big one, you
Yeah,
can see
have
the
to-
numbers bigger. and check
Let me
it
do an
together.
estimate.
It's probably larger because it includes this entire strip
Yeah,
where
yeah.
there is sidewalk proposed.
Right. Well, he talks about the 970.
So there's 33 by 24.
That's even, I think that might be even bigger.
That's 792. It's just sort of like that area. But it's a trapezoid, so it's not a strict, length by width.
But
Right.
It's close. Maybe 850. It might be the 900.
Read the
Yeah.
description, and this one is,
It could be the 900 number that's on the plan that we submitted to you, so.
So which of these site plans did
This is-
CTD make their decision upon, or did they?
Deep made no decisions.
Right.
It's the commission who made the
Made a decision
decisions.
based
It's
on a
referral.
recommendation or referral from CTD?
It's a referral to DEP
Okay.
that the
thank you,
commission made.
Thank you.
And they don't state anything about how many square feet it has to be.
Okay,
No.
that's what I was concerned.
Yeah.
This is a different dimension than
The one on our plan.
Yeah, I mean,
the one
it's,
on your plan.
it's
Yeah.
a very different thing.
The
and
one
maybe-
in the easement is, the easement map that is referenced, the Schedule A in the coastal easement, those are different dimensions, meets and bounds here than this original plan. However, this plan was modified, so that should not have been
Yeah, I think it's,
referenced plan.
gives us a little history, but we've got a new plan that we're working with.
We have to work with what's filed.
Yeah.
The other item that I just wanted to share with the commission, the sidewalk plan that the developers responsible for installing the sidewalks are within the right of way, and they are on the inside, the property side of the telephone poles that are shown in the
Right.
photograph.
Yep.
Right.
So those would be in from towards the property line.
Is that the same as this?
Yes,
Yeah.
the map that that shows the proposed easement area does show the sidewalk location as well. Yeah,
Because
correct.
he took what was on file with the state for the sidewalk to make sure that was located properly, because it's, we know where our property line is, we know where the sidewalk should be when it's put in, so we could design from there.
Yes, so you can see that here referenced, these CLMP poles
Right,
are here on the outside.
one here.
And also, I think, Robert, when you said we have to go with what plans were filed, that wasn't filed until we lived in the home for a year and a half.
I understand,
This was after everything, like, so,
but we just,
and we saw only not any of this. Everything else, so, anyway, it's just to correct that.
But I think Robert's point is spot on. This is what's filed. We're asking you to amend it. Can we,
Right,
I think it is instructive to know how we got here, but we've made a proposal and we'd love to,
and we've done the management of the invasive species, the riparian buffer, the forward thinking of what would be meaningful for a viewing, or what to do with the viewing area, to have the signage, the area, the plantings, had it surveyed. So we're just hoping you
Bob,
could.
did you want to say something?
Not yet.
Janet has her hand raised.
As well. Oh, did you have your hand raised?
No, I didn't.
Janet.
Oh,
Janet.
Janet, sorry.
Janet, did you want to say something?
No, I just, Deep talks about, and the original plans talked about this parking space. I don't understand where this parking space was going to go. Was it on the homeowner's property right by the Dwyer Gardner house?
I don't know, but it's gone.
It is
It was
definitely gone.
removed
So
from
we
that.
are not considering that anymore.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So when we were trying to figure out what was happening, I have a friend who's a surveyor and he did a survey of the legal description that's attached to our easement. It is about 1,000 square feet and I can share this picture.
I think we submitted that.
What's that?
We submitted that.
What's that?
We submitted that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we did
Okay.
as part of what was
Okay.
in our original
But
application.
it does replicate the shape. I don't know, I haven't looked at the meets and bounds in the legal description and whether it matches, but this is approximately 1,000 square feet. I'm assuming it's the same shape.
But, and so you're asking to go from the 979 square feet to 31 square feet?
Right.
Correct.
Correct.
So why couldn't we approve the viewing area as is and leave the easement as is?
So I'm wondering, can we do something like that? Just
Why
Yeah,
is that?
the
The
Okay.
concern is that there would be public access theoretically to that entire area,
Area, which is very close to their house.
Theoretically.
theoretically, but will
I
it
mean,
ever
if
happen?
if it's designed like this, I would be, it would be rare, very rare if someone's gonna.
It would be, I would be surprised if somebody starts walking around. And there's going to be no indication of what that easement area is on the ground, so.
Right.
Well, there is supposed to be some signage indicating public access.
Yeah.
Right, but so,
Right, which
I mean,
would be
part
in
of
the
this
viewing
too
area.
is I was going down that path too, with, can we just leave it as is, so we
Yeah.
don't have to deal with deep and getting yelled at and stuff. So would it be possible then, since it is a steep slope down, there are potentially some safety concerns and like, could we create, I still think the space is too small, but could we create the viewing area up top with the sign, educating people on what they're looking at, maintain the easement as is, but put some kind of fence or something to prevent people from going down, but the easement then prevents the homeowners from doing anything to that property, stays with the town, we maintain its openness, so it's easier to see, it's part of the whole experience, but we change the approval to allow some type of fence or something to prevent people going down to the marsh, which would be wrong anyway. And go from there. So it kind of works,
Just put a fence around the viewing area.
yeah, basically, or
I mean, there's
3 feet.
landscaping to define it.
Landscaping.
Yeah, and actually, I did want to ask about the landscaping, just a quick question. Sorry not to
That's okay.
distract, but what are you using for the riparian buffer? Because I thought maybe use the same planting materials around the viewing area.
Some of it is the same,
Okay,
but then
because I found myself thinking, well, why are we spending all this effort? I mean, I know why we're spending all the effort to remove the Phragmites, but then planting something that sort of simulates Phragmites? You know, there's a grass that's gonna, what is it, the Carl Forster grass is an ornamental grass, but I don't think it's native, and I just thought,
No, it is native.
Is it native?
That's what
Okay,
they
great.
told. Jay,
so I would like
Jay
it to.
Santoro chose that, we did.
Yeah, I just
He
wasn't
said
sure.
it's native, but it doesn't grow tall. I mean, the Phragmites is
Right.
18.
No, I saw that. I looked it up and I looked at pictures of it, but I just had this
Yeah,
feeling like, wait, why are we planting some little mini Phragmites?
Yeah, so
If the whole point is to get rid of the Phragmites, but I just thought, you know, maybe there would be consistency with the riparian buffer.
But it will have some of the natives and then mixed in, and it's a smaller area, but also we wanted that natural look. There
Yeah.
was never a fence on any of the plans. We don't really want a fence, so we were trying to look for natural.
planted that
Um,
same purpose.
yeah, so we think that
I think so too. I
highlights
think it
the
contains
area.
it.
Yes,
Yeah.
it directs and.
And as long as they have
defines
enough
the
access to
area.
do the landscaping work that's needed. And it also looks like I think there's mulch in the bed and then mulch in like the standing area in front of the
Right.
sign, is that right?
Mhm.
So that also will help define it.
And it's not impervious in that way,
Yeah.
It's more natural there. In terms, just, sort of wearing my lawyer hat, it makes me a little nervous that, we approve, you approve the reduced area. Legally, there's still this other area here. I mean, if you approve the reduced area, then at that point,
We're not approving a reduced area. We're approving this viewing area.
okay. I'm saying, but if you were to approve a reduced area that we were requesting, then it would go to the town attorney to sort of redefine the easement area, the deeded area, right? And so it's sort of like, it's not what you have, and you don't have to do that afterwards, it's sort of the town attorney. It's whether you approve the reduced area as the pedestrian easement or just the viewing area. So, I'm just not clear how that could be done on paper necessarily in terms of the easement.
Agree with you, Jim. The existing easement is a coastal access easement. It's not a viewing easement. So the coastal access easement is within that easement area. So if you're only allowing access within the 31 square feet that the applicants are proposing for an easement area, how does the remaining
I don't
coastal
think
access
we're
easement
stopping
remain?
access in the other easement area. We're just assuming that the viewing area as built will naturally bring people to that area. They're not going to be going round into the easement for any reason. I mean, that's my logic.
But they would have the right to.
They would have the
Under
right to.
that.
Yeah,
Right.
Wording.
right.
That's the question for the commission. Yes, I didn't know the answer to what we were
So
proposing.
your thoughts about the easement area?
I mean, I can see the problem, right? I mean, you're saying somebody could say, hey, I've done my research, I'm gonna have a picnic down by the marsh there. That's the crux of the problem.
Well, actually, picnicking is prohibited under
That's right.
the existing language.
They could walk down there and they could just, they could stand down there.
What
for what
is
it's worth.
permitted under the existing easement language?
Homeless.
What's that?
What is permitted under the?
Yeah.
For sure.
Is that in the packet?
Yes, it's there, but I can,
You find it faster than we can.
It states that it's aimed to increase public enjoyment of and access to other lands. Voluntarily conveys the permanent coastal access easement over the pedestrian access easement as shown on the map. And it's for, these were deleted out of your proposal, but it says it's the intention of the parties to this easement to provide access for passive enjoyment and to enable the general public to access the lands. They recognize the value of public benefit, passive enjoyment and viewing. And then there's a section item number 4 in the easement. It are all of the activities that are prohibited, including littering, picnicking, consuming alcohol, playing audio or other music equipment, or making excessive noise, smoking, vaping, the use of combustible substances, setting off fireworks, bringing animals onto the easement and or leaving animal waste, disturbing the quiet enjoyment of surrounding private property owners, any vehicular or motorized vehicle use, any car top boat, canoe, paddle boat, kayak, or other similar boating use, hunting, skateboarding, bicycling, scooter use, roller skating, rollerblading, or the use of other recreational or wheeled vehicles, provided, however, that baby strollers, wheelchairs, and other similar wheeled vehicles shall not constitute improper use of this easement.
Darren, suggest that that's pointless. Are you gonna have a sign that says that, and then it's up to Mike and Cindy to enforce it? They're smoking and vaping and boomboxing, and I'm gonna go out and say, hey, look right here. You can't do that.
Well, they could be smoking and vaping in the 31 square foot area also.
Understood.
And on the sidewalk.
Are you going to enforce that?
I'm wide open to eliminating it all.
There is language within the existing easement that allows for the grantee to place signage that indicates the restrictions in the area as well.
You need a big sign.
Fine print.
I'm feeling the same way that if this easement as is, the larger 979 square foot is just left there, left in place, left in the previous documentation. What's sort of the worst case scenario? I mean, I can't imagine that anybody's gonna start wandering around, but whether the line is here or here or here, you know, if, you know, I suppose there's a chance that people would wander down the hill even, go poking around in the marsh, but I don't see it happening.
They could anyway.
That's what I'm saying, is
There's
that
no-
regardless of where
Where
the line is,
the easement ends, stops or ends.
yeah,
You're right, John. They could.
they could still wander.
They're going, yeah, if somebody's gonna wander, they're gonna wander. They're not gonna, oh, that.
But if there is some signage that it's a public access, but just in this, you know, within this mulched area, I don't know how you would.
That's the legal question of how do you leave the entire coastal access easement area, but only restrict coastal access.
Public
to
access.
To the
Right.
31 square feet. I don't know
In
how
theory,
that
You're not restricting,
rectified.
you're not actually restricting anything. You're just you're
Putting
putting
a
in
sign
place a viewing area.
An accommodation.
You're
Which we like, by the
You're
way.
directing and defining
Yeah.
an area that you're offering.
Erin, is there?
I think that would be a question for legal counsel as far as where, if the public access easement area is defined as a certain boundary, where does the signage and access have to be? Within that area, I'm not sure that legally you can restrict that unless you redefine this.
And that would also be up to legal counsel.
It's not restricting, we're not restricting, you wouldn't be restricting anything, you would just be planting bushes.
But a sign saying this is the public viewing area
Right.
would be restricting potentially public from accessing or thinking that they have access to the other easement
Is
area.
there-
So that's the legal question to see how you can do that.
In a different approach, maybe is there, we have a map showing iso lines of elevation in that area. Usually the site plans have that, and I can't find one with it.
There was, the map showed it's roughly elevation 10 to slopes down to 8. Hold on.
But I was looking forward to understand the elevation and the slope relative to the easement to see if there's some formula that would make those sense to have.
I don't know that we had an as-built. I think the applicant would have to provide an as-built of the finished grading. We only have topography based on the proposed and not necessarily showing finished grade. So if you need that I think would have to come back from the surveyor.
Would it be possible for us to approve what we're seeing here for the viewing area and with the condition added that the actual lines will be worked out between legal counsel?
No, I think you should have that.
The different idea of it is starting to come up, like what
Yeah.
John was saying, we we're just talking about is maybe there's an opportunity for us to look at the easement as it's defined in this trapezoidal shape and modify it somewhat to eliminate the steep boundary, which is a useless, as far as I can tell, public access. We don't want people going down steep slopes towards a tidal wetland falling. So if we can understand where the natural break point might be, maybe there's, we're thinking, is there a line that we can draw parallel to the current property lines or road, whatever? So you can even water trap regulation, but moving everything away from the house to some extent, but maintaining the general width,
You could make it a parallelogram.
yes. Thank you for your sense.
I can, there are some photos of the area that could give you,
They give you a feel of
the
it.
applicant provided some photos that can show you some.
Then you have the whole place as far as it's just it's a bump out on this.
So you're taking away a triangle.
But I don't know where to look because I don't know what.
And I was just
Here's-
arbitrarily.
I know, I'm just saying, I was just drawing this.
Here are the photos of the general area. This, oh, I thought you were looking, walking over to look at the TV. I was gonna say that one's on as well.
I don't know, but.
Right, that's what I was gonna do.
All of ours, this is kind of pointless, because it's.
Get rid of that triangle. And it's kind of a
When you
compromise, it's not as
maintain the-
small as what.
Maintain access to the public, they have nice views. The original intent was to eliminate some of this area. Electronically things.
No, just put it in the legal documents, it's what it is. Is it your end?
Put a sign about the venomous snake problem.
I mean, if you have
I don't know what you're.
if you have a line that, you know, like, maybe not as small as we want it, but, you know, sort of put a line in that makes that trapezoid a little bit smaller, we can do that. You can approve it, but it's just saying legal and applicant have to work out the meets and bounds of that, because we'd have to change
That's
the,
what we're trying.
the modification
Yeah.
either way. And then that way, you know, instead of, you know, it's a middle ground there, we could do that. And then,
So why
and you've
don't I just
approved sort of the area.
Drawn a line from that corner straight across, so it makes a parallelogram. But this-
I can pull up the
Our
survey.
creative edge.
Okay, yeah.
So get rid of this,
Yeah.
make it a parallelogram, or you can square it off.
It's easy to do it.
Yeah,
Right,
Right.
that's the idea.
That could be a good way to do
Are
that.
you saying from the
Here.
corner, from the?
You're talking here on the survey?
right, so that southeast corner, yeah,
Here?
from there, yeah,
Yeah.
go straight across. But in parallel with the property line. Yeah.
What do you think, Erin?
Like this, I don't know if everyone, stuff you're trying.
It's a whiteboard. We could do it.
I know, right?
They didn't give us any Prometheus
Like that.
boards here. Only the schools get that, Jim.
Right? Yeah, Prometheus board would be perfect.
I wanted one right
Right,
there.
So, yeah, I think she did like a, she sort of, oh, actually it does work. Like, if you go like this,
Janet, it's sort of where my
Yeah,
like that.
cursor is going across here
And
is
that
what
way-
they're,
I know I'm breaking rules by just talking like that, but the idea is, I don't know what the ISO lines are. So I don't know where the break point is.
it's not,
Well,
it's not
let's-
that, it's.
yeah,
pretty-
let's
it's
have
pretty
discussion
granular.
all together. I think we're breaking off
Yeah,
into
we are.
several groups and it's very hard to keep
Sorry.
minutes that way.
But we do like that idea.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
So Mike was just asking what it accomplishes. It reduces the footprint and the public access.
Of the total area that was there.
Yeah, yeah. So it goes from being, having this it gets rid of this triangle, basically, is what we're proposing.
And if I could on here, if you look, it takes it away from the house more and it keeps it
Exactly.
closer up to the property line and the sidewalk.
And it's all parallel.
And it's parallel and it's easier to measure.
So the triangle goes back to the homeowners association, or what does it? do?
Well, we've always owned it. The
It's
easement would just be, the easement would be reduced, the possession easement
Oh,
would
I
be reduced to the
see, I
new
understand.
thing. So if you approve that, then legal would have to work with me and we redefine that and file a new modified easement.
Do we need to address the plantings in the easement, or we just let that, you guys just take care of it?
I'm okay with just.
Well, yeah, some of,
Anyway, 'cause that'll define it, so don't get that.
there is an existing requirement, a maintenance agreement within this easement. And that there is a requirement in the approval, one, to maintain that riparian buffer in perpetuity.
Right.
And that's reflected in this easement and should be in any amendments as it is a condition of approval.
But that's as much
And
in
the-
our interest as
Wait,
yours.
one at a
Yeah,
time.
we want
That
that.
keeps the marsh back.
Yeah.
Correct. There's also a viewing easement, a view to easement in perpetuity. That was a condition of the
Right.
approval as well, which is in your records. And I think you
Right.
submitted the first couple pages of my staff report that had those two
Right.
sets of conditions in them from the original and then the
2020.
modification
Right.
as well. One question I had, is there a connection from the sidewalk to your proposed viewing area? There's grass in between?
There's grass in between. This is because this is the state right of way. So
Correct.
that's, we can't block that. The people could go from here to here.
Okay, but you're not proposing any physical surface for,
Well, we could probably put
To
some mulch,
access
we could
that.
probably put some
Mulch it.
mulch there,
Yeah.
but I mean, we can't like pave because it's the state's right of way, right?
well,
Yeah, mulch we can
you'd have
just-
to get,
Yeah, we could just sort of put mulch there and they probably won't care. And we would show the connection from here to here.
Right.
You know, I mean, when the sidewalk is in, I mean, there's, right now, people just walk on the grass.
Right.
So I hope this is a relevant question. This will have no impact on the sidewalk,
None, none.
No, and that's not their land.
but the developer still.
It is the-
To do the sidewalk.
that's correct.
We're hoping for the sidewalk, waiting.
If there are no further questions for the applicant, we could entertain a
Well,
motion.
well, let's see if there's anybody from the public. I just want to make sure I'll stop screen sharing since it is still.
Any questions from the public attending by Zoom?
Well, last time there was the neighbor across the street.
Yeah, there's two of them here,
Here there.
but
Okay.
I don't see any hands raised.
Yes.
Okay, right on cue.
Alex, can you identify yourself for the record?
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, it's actually Matthew Bennett across the street, 917 Boston Post Road. We'll actually make this easy and just wanted to chime in and say we're in agreement with what the applicant has brought forth and aligned to the discussion and your directional support of it. So we would also, from our perspective, be quite pleased with this as a win-win-win for the neighbors, for us, for the town as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
And then, because it's a public hearing, we need to close the public hearing, move to deliberations. Someone like to make a motion to close the public hearing? John, is it? Second, any discussion? All in favor of closing the public hearing? Means you guys no longer participate.
Okay.
Thank you.
So much.
We've done a lot of it already.
I can tell you I don't have a draft resolution for you because I was not sure the direction in which the commission was going to be going this evening. You could fashion something this evening. You could send staff back with directives to have a resolution prepared for your next meeting, which you have 65 days to deliberate. What would be your direction?
If we could word it, Aaron, in a way that we can approve it, as we've been discussing it with this change to the area that everybody seems comfortable with. And then that change would be enacted by the legal counsel, attorneys on both sides. I think we feel comfortable enough to say yes to what we're seeing here with that line understood. Aaron, how do you?
Is it just
I have-
changing item line 4?
I have-
2020 modifications.
Well, the coastal access easement, the language in that would have to be worked out with town council. So I'm not sure that I would recommend approving the modification as drafted. I think that should be some language in a resolution that get worked out. I have some bones here that I can, give you to fill in
Okay, great.
to help you if
Make
we're,
sure we're covered legally and
if we're gonna,
I can.
you never do this. Hold on. Get it ready for you. All right, I'm going to screen share this and you can come up with
Great, thank you.
some language. I think the findings need to be, this is the bones of a draft from the previous round, previous application. So This is a modification. You have to make findings as far as consistency with the Coastal Act. Some general language here is the commission finds that while the site is waterfront along the tidal fence, creek, and wetlands, it is not physically suited for active water-dependent use. The second is that the proposed removal, I think, that can change, of the public access to coastal waters is acceptable as it will have no negative impact on coastal resources. I think you need to have some language that this is a modification. And then you should have some description of what the
new line.
modification.
Yeah. Best I can think of right now is to say something like, modification of the shape and size of the easement as follows: from the current easement, the southeast corner of the easement, from that point extending west and parallel to the property line until it intersects with the current line defining the western side of the easement.
Yeah, that's correct.
And then all the area encompassing that between that and the property line would now be the new. Like extra word in there, I know that. Size material.
They're just eyeballing it. They were cutting it at least in half.
Yeah. I think the original was what, 500 square feet?
It's 979.
No, the original.
Oh, I don't know. Let's not go there.
The one with the parking lot? The one with the parking lot?
That we don't need to worry about.
Existing coastal access easement area as defined shall be reduced by drawing a boundary from the southeastern corner of the easement westerly parallel with the front property line along the Boston Post Road.
And intersecting with the west line.
Right, correct.
Corner of the, you say the current easement?
That's cute.
Sure to
We're getting there.
There you go. You got it.
And then as far as language for the access signage, there is a proposed sign as shown on
Isn't that already covered in the 2020? Public access viewing area shall be identified with a public access sign.
That's the question. The existing easement shows that the public access area shall be identified with a public access sign. And then the applicant is proposing an educational sign within this viewing area as well. So I'm confirming
We just have one
there's
sign.
two signs, the educational Tidal Creek sign and a public access sign.
Can it be
You
combined?
just have one sign, it's the educational with the public access or
So we
something.
know that this is the
On the
public
bottom.
access.
That's my question.
Yes.
Something that the applicant shall incorporate.
Can you just
This
take
site provides
this
access to
public
the
access
public
viewing
enjoy.
area
It is number 3 of the existing, you're right.
shall be identified with a public access sign.
And
along
educational
a
sign?
Public access and educational sign. And
Okay. condition
Says to give back further reduction.
3 of the special exception approval.
2020. Is there a date on that?
Shall be amended to area shall be identified as a public access. Yes,
Maybe add to be maintained by the HOA. With the sign.
well, yes, it does say there's successors in the document. Condition 3 of the special exception approval from 2020 shall be amended to state that the public access viewing area shall be identified with a public access.
And education. Signage with public access and educational signage, whether it's 1 or 2, however you want that.
There's existing language, I think, in the easement that speaks to maintaining well, actually, there wasn't any landscaping proposed within the public access area. So do you want language added in here that speaks to maintaining that public access plantings as shown on the plan?
And signage, or is the sign included?
The signage is included in this condition 3
Okay,
of
great.
the special exception already. And then the suggestion was to amend that condition number 3 of the special exception to state that the public access viewing area shall be identified with public access and educational signage. So that incorporates both.
But to be maintained by that homeowners association.
That's another line.
The sign itself.
That's already,
Yes,
Is it there?
no.
Yes.
said signage shall be maintained in perpetuity.
Bingo, you got it.
uh, The plantings as shown on the
What do you call this? The,
on the proposed viewing area.
It's Madison Flower Shop. Landscape.
yes, no, sure.
Typically, there would be language that since this is a modification of the special exception approval as well, that the remaining conditions, the other conditions remain in effect.
Also, do you need to say anything about having attorneys work out the revision to the
Meets
deed
Yeah,
restriction?
Can I see the staff report with the,
This one?
yes.
Crossing our Ts and dotting our Is.
Now, all of this will be on record for the HOA. correct? So therefore, any future owners would also be bound to the same restrictions that you will be currently.
I'm not talking to them anymore. though, you're talking
That's
to us.
correct to us.
So
I'm just looking for them to nod their head.
number 4, existing condition number 4 states that the easement for the proposed public access viewing area shall be recorded on the town of Madison land records along with a deed restriction to provide for public access to this area in perpetuity. Additionally, the deed restriction shall further require the views to the tidal creek be maintained in perpetuity through maintenance of the riparian buffer and ongoing invasive species management. I think that would be the location where the commission would add that, the modification to the approved, or to the, filed
The easement.
easement, shall also be filed.
Sounds good. There's copy and paste when you need it.
Well, I know, you guys get to see me.
Yes.
Question, but do we want to add anything more to number 3? So that's the big change here, right? We're lopping off a portion of the easement. And maybe if we put a little more of our reasoning for that, it wouldn't hurt. So for example, the deep memo includes concerns, privacy concerns of neighbors, public safety concerns. And what we're trying to do is take those into account, but maintain the public view.
Yeah.
Good point.
So a simple additional sentence that says, the commission finds that this would address public safety concerns, privacy concerns of neighbors, and maintain the public coastal view.
Good.
Yeah, that's good.
I guess.
Is it privacy and safety? What was the
Privacy,
language?
Resident safety.
privacy concerns, neighbors, privacy concerns,
Safety.
public safety, while maintaining the public coastal view.
Commission finds that the proposed modification of the public access to coastal waters, acceptable as it will have no negative impact on coastal resources. The commission further finds that this modification will address resident and neighbor privacy and safety concerns while maintaining public access and views. Is that what you,
Yes.
Sounds good.
that's okay? Okay, I didn't get. Condition 4, the 2020 special exception approval, whoops, redundant. Shall be amended to include that the modifications to the coastal access easement and maintenance agreement shall be recorded on the town of Madison land records, along with a deed restriction to provide for public access to this area in perpetuity. Additionally, the deed restriction shall further require the views to the tidal creek be maintained in perpetuity through maintenance of the riparian buffer and ongoing invasive species management.
Great.
I think you got it.
And then all remaining conditions. Special.
Bob, do you want to read the final version?
Readable screen.
You're close.
Davis approval.
Can't actually see. Barely.
Petition.
With feeling.
I'll just go over there because the mic's over there.
Sure.
Thank you, Aaron.
Yes.
Okay, so could I have a motion for approval?
Oh. Motion for the following.
Yes.
Okay, voted that the Planning and Zoning Commission approve application number 24-36, 908 and 916 Boston Post Road, map 39, lots 3 and 4, zone R2. Owner, the general residences at Fence Creek HOA Inc. Special exception permit modification and coastal site plan applications to modify previous approval to substitute the pedestrian access easement for an easement to perpetually maintain a viewscape and related signage be approved based upon the following findings. 1, the commission finds that while the site is waterfront along the tidal Fence Creek and wetlands, it is not physically suited for an active water-dependent use. 2, the commission finds proposed modification of the public access to coastal waterways acceptable as it will have no negative impact on coastal resources. The commission further finds that this modification will address resident and neighbor privacy and safety concerns while maintaining public access and views. 3, the existing coastal access easement area as defined shall be reduced by drawing a boundary from the southeastern corner of the easement westerly parallel with the front property line along Boston Post Road to intersect with the existing western boundary line of the easement. 4, condition 3 of the special exception approval from 2020 shall be amended to state that the public access viewing area shall be identified with public access and educational signage. Said signage shall be maintained in perpetuity. 5, the plantings as shown on the proposed viewing area prepared by Madison Flower Shop and Garden Center shall be maintained in perpetuity. 6, condition 4 of the 2020 special exception approval shall be amended to include that the modifications to the coastal access easement and maintenance agreement shall be recorded on the town of Madison land records, along with a deed restriction to provide for public access to this area in perpetuity. Additionally, the deed restriction shall further require the views to the tidal creek be maintained in perpetuity through maintenance of the riparian buffer and ongoing invasive species management. All remaining conditions of the special exception approval shall remain effective. The effective date of this approval shall be November 21st, 2024, and upon filing of the special exception modification on the land records.
Great, thank you. Second,
I'll second it.
Mike Boca, any further discussion? Janet, are you with us?
I am with you. Carol, I am with you, but I'm going to have to recuse myself.
Okay,
Okay.
then I think the rest of us are all in favor.
Yes.
Thanks, Janet. Thank you all.
Thank you for your patience. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I'm gonna be the first one to use it.
Oh, sorry.
Seems very fair and really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Go charge your weed whacker.
yeah, you guys.
Go have a beer.
Thank you. I just didn't want to delete it before.
Great job.
Okay.
Thanks for your patience.
I just
I see you go in here.
We will.
And
I will put my sign up.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'll send you the letter.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Tonight. All right, next on our agenda is 24-35. 21 Circle Beach Road, map 6, lot 8, zone R5. Owner 21 Circle Beach, CRCP LLC. Applicant Joe Wren, Indigo Land Design, coastal site plan to replace subsurface sewage disposal system within 25 feet of a coastal resource.
Joe is here with us via Zoom. He's the design engineer
Great.
for the system.
Yes.
Joe, can you hear us? Oh, there you are.
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, thanks.
Excellent. Aaron, would you like me to share or would you like to share?
You can if you'd like, sure. Otherwise, I can get it.
All right. Can you see my screen, everyone?
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. For the record, Joe Wren, professional engineer of Indigo in Old Saybrook. This is a small property on Circle Beach Road. The house has been elevated for FEMA already. The purpose of this application is just to put a new septic system on the property. The property consists of this piece on this side of Circle Beach Road, and he also owns another piece on the other side of Circle Beach Road. This particular piece where the house is abuts Long Island Sound. The piece on the opposite side of the road abuts the tidal wetlands. I should be able to scroll that way. See if that works. Yes. So you can see the tidal wetlands there. We first were going to try to do some testing on this side of the road and put the septic system there. However, the town public works would not allow us to cross the road with a pipe. So we could not put it on that side of the road. So the area that was chosen is obviously the farthest area away from the beach and any coastal resource. There was, of course, an existing house there. Of course, there was an old septic system there, and we are just replacing it with a code compliant septic system in this area that's already been approved by your health department. And that is the sole purpose of this CAM application for you. With that, it's really as simple as that. If you have any questions, I certainly can try to entertain.
Thank you. Any questions?
So given the fact that you can't run any pipe under the road, that means that no facilities could ever be put on the other side of the road that would need the septic system. Is that a correct statement?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, if someone tried to propose, it is a separate lot. The property doesn't go across Circle Beach Road. We tried to get the town
Correct.
forward to run a pipe through the town right of way, but it's not to say that someone can't try to put a small building there at some point in the future. It's very compressed. You would need lots of variances. And it may be impossible, but I wouldn't say that it's 100% impossible. The idea, what we can't do is put a pipe underneath the road.
That's my point. You wouldn't be able to tap into the existing septic system from across the road at any point in time.
Not if the same director of public works is there, not allowing us to go across.
Well, right, any easement, any utilities that run under, that would be subject to the Board of Selectmen to approve that.
Yeah, we've done it successfully in other towns. Where sanitarians supported that because there were better soil conditions on the other side of the road. But in this case, we went through all that. We did the testing. We've had meetings, and Public Works would not allow us to cross the right of way with a pipe. So we had to put it in this location, which works and it's approved, but it's as far from the coastal resource as we possibly can get it.
Right, and essentially the whole property is a coastal resource. It's all beach.
It's all
Where they are.
And
so that's, right, that's what triggered this was the proximity within 25 feet of a coastal resource. There are no exemptions. So you're essentially going to see everything on Circle Beach Road as a coastal site.
Yeah, that's correct.
And Joe, I think you mentioned you do have ENS controls shown for during installation. There's silt fence shown wrapping the construction area.
All the way around the perimeter, both property lines, and then across the back of the house. It's all decent beach sand, so there's really non-erodible soils there, but no real topsoil. There's no driveway proposed, no parking over the septic system either. They basically will have to park on the opposite side of the road.
And my understanding, Joe, is there's not a significant change in the existing topography. This is an below grade, the system, it's not requiring it to be raised above existing grade, maybe like 6 inches or so, right?
Yeah, on the second sheet, we have a profile.
Oh, there it is. Yep.
Yeah, and you can see that the long dash line there is the existing grade, so we're just below shallow, we're just below the existing grade of the ground, so there's no mounding or anything.
This was also referred to Deep, who included some recommendations for adequate sedimentation and erosion control measures, which are shown on the plan already. And the encouragement or assurance that the elevated structure and mechanicals meet FEMA requirements, which are all part of the building code as well, and were reviewed by the building official and the floodplain administrator when the house was raised. So I think it's comfortable to say that is also in compliance with those recommendations.
Great. Any other questions or comments? If not, could I have a motion to approve? And there's a draft resolution
In your packet.
Back page.
Back, okay. Voted that the Madison Planning and Zoning Commission approve application number 2535, 21 Circle Beach Road, map 6, lot 8, zone R5, owner 21 Circle Beach, CRCP LLC, applicant Joe Wren, Indigo Land Design. Coastal site plan to replace subsurface sewage disposal system within 25 feet of a coastal resource as shown on plans entitled Coastal Site Plan prepared for Chris Ron, 21 Circle Beach Road, map 6, lot 8 by Indigo Land Design LLC, sheets CSP 1 and ST 1 dated December 12th, 2022, revised to October 23rd, 2025, with the following conditions. 1, that the zoning enforcement officer be notified 24 hours prior to any site disturbance. 2, that prior to the commencement of construction activities, the applicant shall install silt fencing to properly delineate the limits of site activity and protect the adjacent coastal resources. No work shall take place or shall equipment be stored and or staged beyond the silt fence. The applicant shall maintain adequate soil and erosion controls measures during construction activities. This approval is made based upon the finding that with proper sedimentation and erosion control measures, there will be no adverse impacts anticipated on the coastal resources. The proposal is consistent with the coastal use and resource policies of the state of Connecticut. In the event that changes to the approved plans are required as a result of other agency permitting to support the proposed activity, the Madison Planning and Zoning Commission reserves the right to review said changes and may require modification of this approval. The effective date of this approval shall be November 21st, 2024.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Mike Fogel? Further discussion? All in favor? That includes Janet. Great.
Thank you very much. Have a nice night.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have 2 receipts, both of which I'm going to ask for motions to table to our next meeting. 24-41, Opening Hill Road. As I understand, Aaron, they've requested to table to the November 21st.
Yes, in consultation with Attorney McKeon, there were some minor lot line changes to the application. And they came in at the last minute, so we're just reviewing those and
revising the revision.
Yes, and we'll be ready for the 21st.
Okay, great. Can I have a motion that we table that to November 21st, 2024?
Oh,
Second?
This is for the 6 Opening Hill Road.
This is
No.
above- It's north of it.
This is, it's south of the Opening Hill Road. This is on the corner of Kachina.
is?
Yes,
But it's
this is
north, but
a,
it's north of 6 Opening.
It's- yeah, this.
no, it's not.
So what's the address? There's no number.
Is it north? No, I
Yeah,
think it's south.
2441.
Is it, am I, hold on,
That's
No,
not,
that's not the address.
No,
let me say 28 Opening Hill.
it's 20 Opening Hill Road, 38 Opening Hill Road.
Yeah.
32 Opening Hill Road.
It's being developed now.
It might be, is it a block north?
I think it is,
Throwing
yeah.
me
It's a little
off.
bit north.
Yeah, because Kachina's
Yeah,
above it.
Kachina's.
Remaining.
Oh, Kachina, yes, I'm sorry.
It runs along the edge of.
Yeah, it's the next one.
It's okay. Good to get located.
Yes, yes, I'm sorry. Indigo loops to Kachina.
Yep.
So there was a first split prior to the subdivision and a 3-lot subdivision, then that came through the commission after that. So there were 4 lots involved in the lot line revision.
So is there a numerical address?
What's that?
Is there a numerical address?
There are several.
Opening Hill.
Uh,
Yeah, there's
It
several
it
lots.
affects all of the lots. It
Oh,
affects
I see.
20
Oh, I see.
Opening
Lot
Hill.
6, 6, 1, 6, 2, and 6, 3. I
Yep.
see.
Yes, so the addresses are 20 Opening Hill, 38 Opening Hill, 32 Opening Hill, and 26 Opening Hill.
Okay. So I think we got like 5 motions to table it to next month, to next meeting. Could I have a second?
I'll do it. I'll read it first.
Bob O'Connor, and no further discussion. John O'Connor, sorry, I'm doing
John
O'Connor as Bob Morgan.
further discussion.
We got it.
John Morgan.
No further discussion, all in favor? So that will be on our November 21st meeting
And then-
agenda, and then the next one is 24-42, 155 New Road. They've also requested that we table to the November 21st, 2024 meeting. Can I have a motion for that table? John Duzen, and the second, John Morgan.
Oh, Janet
The
raised her
Johns,
hand
I gotta
too.
do Johns and Bobs. Any discussion?
I was thinking, could you take a note for them? That I think there may be, there's a question in the traffic study as far as one of the charts looks like incorrect. They should just check it.
Did you get that, Aaron, that there may be some problem with the traffic study that they submitted as well?
No.
So we communicate that with them. All right, any further discussion? All in favor? Great, it's on for November 21st, 2024. And then we have the Old Elm Street Local Historic District Study Committee report referral. We really only need to support them. An official approval is not required. There were some comments that came back from, I guess, the State Historic Preservation Office, now just part of the division, the Department of Economic and Community Development.
Yes.
Yes, that's, I mean, I know it was a subcategory, but they're not calling themselves SHPO anymore.
Correct.
Um,
So, yes, the statute requirement for establishing a local historic district requires the study committee to, prior to having a public hearing, I think it's 65 days ahead of the public hearing, to notify and refer to the planning commission of a town or combined planning and zoning commission, as well as the Office of DECD for the state to receive comments. And the commission has the right to make a recommendation or comments. Failure for the Planning and Zoning Commission to make any comments is an assumed approval of the document. So there's no regulatory process for you. I know at your last meeting, Tom Boyle came and explained a little bit of background of what a historic district is and what their roles are, and what existing districts are in Madison. And so we kind of decided to draft some favorable comments to the study committee and relate them from a planning perspective, wearing our planning hats, to our recently adopted POCD. So that's sort of the direction I went.
So it's all in accordance with POCD.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yes, specifically, there's there are quite a few areas in the plan that speak to historic and cultural preservation. Policy C specifically preserve and promote Madison's historic and cultural landmarks, both public and private. And then that policy is further broken down into initiatives. And within that policy, the development of a long-range preservation plan for Madison is noted as a high priority item by the commission. And in creating that preservation plan, the town should consider updating and unifying Madison's inventories of historic and cultural landmarks, obtaining state funding for cultural resources, inventories, and developing regulations and incentives to protect historic resources. So the draft does note that this historic Old Elm Historic District report incorporates these considerations, as it includes an inventory and list of the properties and text describing the historic and architectural significance of all the buildings within the proposed district. Additionally, it was the Historic District Commission, with the help of Carol, who successfully received state funding for the creation of this report. And again, the establishment of the historic district can be supported based on what the committee has noted, the importance of this particular residential section in the town's history. And then again, it is consistent with the POCD, and the commission has noted that they support regulations and incentives to protect historic resources. And I think the state has also come back with some comments, and we can share those with you as well. This was the Historic Preservation Council who reviewed the committee's report. They found that the report was thorough and interesting and encouraged the town to seek state or national register listing for the district in order to take advantage of some other financial incentives for historic preservation. Identified that one particular property, 390 Boston Post Road, might benefit from additional architectural investigation. And noted the Farmers and Mariners section of the historical significance essay might benefit from the addition of any information known about enslaved persons or persons of African or Caribbean descent. And lastly, in addition to the preservation tool of establishing the historic district, the state recommends that the town should investigate other zoning initiatives that could further protect the district. So that's something that you all can keep in mind during your zoning code update.
Thanks, Erin.
Yes.
So I think we can just take no action and support it.
Yeah, sounds good. Was he able to maintain the contiguous properties across?
They have yet to have a public hearing about it, which is scheduled for December 10th,
I think it's December 10th, the night of the
And that's
hearing.
when the public will come or has the opportunity to come and
Sign up or not?
pretty much, yeah, say whether they want to be included or not.
And then there's a ballot vote as
Yeah.
well.
Okay.
After that.
Following that.
Yeah, I mean, the committee has reached out to everyone who is in the
Right.
area, and some people have responded, some people haven't responded to anything. I mean, we've literally gone door to door knocking.
Wow.
And then there have been some changes in ownership, so we don't know about the new owners yet. But hopefully it'll be contiguous. If it's not, then it'll be a smaller contiguous property, which means you can jump across the street and continue.
Right.
So
You're one of them, right?
I'm on that committee.
I mean, your house is one of them.
No, I'm in another historic district,
Oh, I see.
the town green one, yeah.
Oh, I see.
But I did get the certified local government status for the town, which allowed us to get funding from the state for this report.
Nice.
So it's been, I think Tom Boyle should be recommended, be complimented for his endurance and his patience, and it's been like
Almost 15 years.
almost 15 years in the making.
Of this study, yes.
Wow.
So it's nice to see it
Wow.
move forward
So we're
at
excited.
this point.
See if we do another historic district, maybe we can do it faster. But anyway, okay, great. So I don't think we need to do anything else then, Erin?
As long as the commission is agreement to send those comments as drafted, I'm happy to do so.
I think we're good. In that case, I think we go to minutes.
Great.
Secretary,
October 17th, 2024 meeting, members present, Snow, Downs, Duza, Bugdub, Morgan, Peckinpah, Rubin, and O'Connor. Motion for approval? Carol? Second? for approval? Bob,
Second.
any comments or edits? I think Aaron got everything right on target. Vote to approve? Okay, thank you.
great, thanks. Any further remarks? Aaron? I have
No.
none. In that case, could we have a motion to adjourn? Lisa, second?
I will second.
John Morgan, sorry, I put the two Johns.
Okay.
No further discussion, all in favor? Okay, we're adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks, Janet.